This is the Built from Scratch podcast, stories of business, entrepreneurship, and building brands. And the one question every business owner needs to ask is your business easy to find, easy to trust, and most importantly, easy to contact? Because if your business's online profile is not working the way buyers actually make decisions, Webspree Digital can fix that. Webspree.com.au, Webspree Digital on Instagram and Facebook, and the founder of Webspree joining us, Julian Price. Welcome to the Built from Scratch podcast.
Thanks for having me.
Let's start from ground zero. We'll get into Webspree and everything about what the business is about and how it can help customers and your story around that. But who are you and what have you done that's gotten you to this point to be a business owner and the figurehead of Webspree so far?
Well, you're looking at someone who started off, thought he was going to be the next Michael Jackson, and then, found that, okay, the personality I had and the fact that I love meeting people, then ended up working behind bars and then got into sales. And from a sales point of view, I realized that so many people were moving to the digital space and you needed to know how to use a computer, okay, because you couldn't depend on knocking on doors anymore. There was that distance created. So from there, I ended up with selling around the online space.
Have you always had an entrepreneurial streak in you, or did that start later on when a few other ideas were sparked?
I didn't realize I did have an entrepreneurial feel, but when I was 16, many, many years ago, I thought it'd be really good to actually do people shopping for them and then charge them for that. Now, we're talking about 1976. If I did that, I'd be a billionaire by now. But always had ideas, always thinking about the quickest way to do something, and I always looked at something and thought, okay, there's got to be a easier way.
Okay, so you had the Amazon idea, but that was already taken. The next best thing is Webspree. From what I can understand, just from a quick snapshot, looking at the website, this is coming from more of a sales perspective rather than you think with traditional website design, it's a tech guy who can just help make a website. Did you see a gap in the market, perhaps a bit more of a strategic focus on what a customer may see and what a business owner may have maybe left in his blind spot when it came to a website?
Yeah, I realized that a lot of business owners were being coached around the sales process. Let's focus on your sales process. And at the end of the day, if I wanted to sell you this mic, I would just say to you, here's a mic, this is what it does, you pay, thanks very much. So thinking about the buyer's process, and so when I put my sales hat on, I thought, what are the things a person does before they actually make the decision to go ahead? And realizing that they needed choices, So one, that's where I came up with attracting someone. Attract, convert, and nurture. So, when there are some people, when they go to a shop, they like to walk in and find someone straight away that can help them. Then you've got the other type that will actually walk in and say, no, leave me alone. I just want to have a look. I want to make my own decision. Then there's the one who says, okay, yes, I want to have a look. I'm not here to buy anything. I'm just browsing, and then they leave. So you've got to get ready. You've got to be prepared for all of those. Now, me telling you that you need those things is one thing. And what I found was a lot of digital marketing agencies, what they would do is they would say, let's do an audit on your website. Now, it's like asking a mechanic to actually, can you look at my car and see if there's anything wrong? All right. 9 times out of 10, they'll find something. So what I do is I say, well, okay, you search for the solution that you offer and see how you show up. So if you're a mechanic, go online and search mechanic near me. And that way you can see exactly what people are seeing or aren't seeing and how easy or difficult you're making it for them to actually take the next step.
Yeah. That's interesting. And yeah, that's so true. So what, 3 types of buyers really in I guess any sales situation.
Yeah.
And your aim is to cater to all 3 of those via a business who with already an existing website or with no website at all.
Yeah, because some say to me that they don't need a website because they get a lot of business through word of mouth and referrals. And I don't know about you, Danny, but I know that when you may say to me, there's a great restaurant across the road from you, you should try it out. Now, the thing is, what I do, because it's so easily available to me, I'll go online and see what other people say. Okay. And 9 times out of 10, you're not looking for positives. You're actually looking, is there anything negative I need to know? Okay. So, one, I don't call myself a digital marketer. I call myself an online profile strategist because that's what I want you to focus on. Look at your space online, have a look and see what other people see.
Yeah. I'm thinking about all the restaurants that I've been recommended and they're like 4.8 on Google and I'll still go to the lowest ratings first just to see what is the worst of these things. Yeah, that's really interesting, the 3 types of buyers and coming at it from more of a strategic point of view based on your expertise. I'm assuming then there's someone else who builds the website behind the scenes. Is there an example of a business owner recently who perhaps thought that they had all the answers already via their website or via their online strategy and you've managed to poke holes and point things out that they hadn't thought about before?
Yeah, I had a friend of mine who was a mechanic and he used to service our cars. And he said to me, "It's Julian, I know what you do, but I don't need a new website." He said, "I've spent thousands on my website and it does, well, I'll say nothing for me," but he used stronger words. And I said, "Well, that's strange." And he said, "Oh, look, he said, it's just a waste of time." He said, he said, "I spend this money because I'm told that I need to market." So I said, "Okay." I said, "Look, let me have a look at it." So he said, he finally agreed. He said, "Okay, I've known you for years." He said, "Have a go." And what I did was I had a look online to see what was missing. He called me a week later after signing up and he said, "I can't believe it." He said, "It's already paid for itself." And I said to him, "Neil," I said, "I haven't actually started the website yet." So he said, "Well, what's happened?" He said, "The phone's been going crazy." I said, "We actually let Google know that you existed." So that was it.
So, I mean, from someone with no experience with online business or having a website, that is obviously part of it. You can build it. It doesn't necessarily mean that they will come. There's a strategy behind getting people to visit, and that starts with Google Ads, right?
Well, not even Google Ads. Think of Google as a library. Okay, now, years ago, I'd walk into the library, get a library card. That would give me all the information for me to find the book that I was looking for. So when you go, okay, Google wants to look good. Okay, so if we're looking for Web3 Digital and Google says, "Hold on, this person's looking for Web3 Digital. Let's see what we can find." Now, if they can't find anything to do with Web3 Digital, Google knows that the customer is going to say, "Bloody Google's a waste of time. I can't find what I'm looking for." And what they will do is they will penalize the business because I haven't given them enough information to be able to know who, where, and why Web3 Digital exists. So when somebody puts in, for example, I'll say plumber near me, and all of a sudden Google would say, "Hold on, here's a plumber. He's located locally. There's the phone number to connect with them." They give enough information on their services. So then the person that was searching will say, "I love Google." Okay, so what Google was doing was saying, right, they're going to penalize the businesses that aren't making them look good by giving them enough information. And they're going to rank higher the businesses that have actually provided the tools that make Google look good.
That's True, because every time I'm looking for a service, I'm not necessarily opening 5 or 6 different websites and going through it. It's that automatic 2 or 3. They've got the location with the Google Maps. They've got their phone number. They've got a link to the website if needed. Without giving away all your secrets, what information would be necessary for a plumber, and what things are left out that would keep the plumber off that first 3 or 4 from a Google point of view?
So 9 times out of 10, especially if we use the plumber analogy, so it's usually an emergency, okay? Somebody needs a plumber now. Mm. So if the plumber hasn't actually made their phone number easy to see, okay, and to actually click on, that's a problem. If the location isn't clear, that's a problem. There's 3 things. It's what we call the NAP, name, address, and phone number. Okay, so I'll say and look, if I can help a business owner out there make a change that's going to make a difference, that's me being part of the solution. I like that. So go and check when you search and get to your website. 1, do people have to scroll forever to actually find a way to contact you? Okay. Is it clear the services that you offer? And thirdly, have you made it clear of your location? Because people like to deal with local. Okay. And so, yeah, that's the main thing. So you don't have to spend a lot of money on Google ads to be found. You've just got to make sure that you provide enough information, and that's what makes Google rank you higher than others. It's not the money you spend.
Mm. This is really interesting. I could get bogged down in this all day. I want to ask what stuff you put on your website to make you attractive from a Google search. Does that come into it?
Yeah. So what I did was I looked at, these 3 things: attract, convert, and nurture. And I know that there are business owners that they want a solution, and their main focus is they want a result. Okay, so what I do is I say, what's a business owner looking for? They're looking for sales. And what they don't realize is that a lot of the people they've sold to in the past are their potential salespeople. And I've asked them, I say, look, what happens to the people you've sold to before? And they say, oh, yeah, they're all there on an Excel sheet. What do you do with them? Nothing. So knowing that people are busy and they like to focus on a particular area, we'll say, okay, we'll provide you with the support to be able to do either 1, just attract, or just convert, or the ability to nurture the past clients so that they remember you. Mm. Because a lot of times the reason somebody goes to somebody else, it's not because they didn't like the experience with you. It's because they've forgotten about you. They weren't thinking about you at the time. So that's why you sort of keep that engagement going. And what we've done is, instead of having a homepage that says, guess what, we can help you with all your digital marketing, we provide all these things, all these services. I relate it to, the analogy I use is, I know there's been times where I've been hungry, it's lunchtime, I walk into a food court and there's all these choices. Danny, the number of times I've actually just said, I can't be bothered, it's too hard, and I've walked out without anything. So that's what people do on a website. If you go, I'm looking for a cleaning solution, send them to a page that just talks about that cleaning solution, and just mention the other services, because what happens is the person that was searching is satisfied, they found what they want, take it or leave it, and then they can move on.
When you are thinking about starting, how long's Webspree been?
7 years now.
Rewind 7 years. Are there a whole bunch of doubts that come into a potential business owner's mind of why it wouldn't work? Or did the idea spring to you because you saw a clear gap in the market? Or could you back then have still listed on 2 hands reasons why you shouldn't go down this route, or why that could fail?
It was because I worked for a digital marketing agency which were charging people anywhere from $10,000 upwards for a website. And I thought, you don't need to spend that kind of money. And the small businesses were suffering because what they were doing was going away and building their no offense, but they're Wix websites and doing that themselves and not getting a return. So they weren't getting the opportunity to grow because they were building make-dos. Okay. And I thought, well, no, if you support the business and give the business the right foundation, then not only will they grow, but if you stay connected, then you can grow as well. So I just wanted to make it easier for small businesses. And that was the gap. That was to prevent them from going away and doing it themselves or giving it to their son who's just left uni.
Yeah. Convincing a business owner to do that probably has its own unique challenges, right? Because like you said, Wix and all those websites that could just automatically kind of make something for you. AI is on the rise, where I'm sure you can just prompt a language model to build a website from scratch yourself. And also just social media, in terms of some businesses would just be very steadfast. Hey, all I need is an Instagram and a Facebook page, and that's how I get my business as well. So there'd be constant changes in technology that, I don't want to say the word threaten, but challenge the customer to make a choice going with a product
definitely
that you have versus, oh no, I'd rather the low risk, low cost DIY method.
Yeah, definitely. And I always tell people that, look, go away and do it yourself or get that other business to do it for you. It's all about knowing that you've asked the right questions. Okay. In the past, I had someone complain to me that they'd been to a company and the company got all these leads and they were rubbish. And I said, well, okay, when you approached the company, what did you ask for? And they said, I wanted leads. And I said, okay, was there any criteria around that? Any qualification around that? No, I just wanted leads. I said, so when you think about that, the company didn't do anything wrong. You asked for leads, they gave you leads. The fact that they weren't looking for what you were looking for, what you were providing, but that's different. But yes, AI, and there are tools out there. And look, I use some of the tools as well, But what you've got to realize is that having a website or having something online is one thing. Okay. I've seen some fantastic websites, but then they haven't taken care of, let's say, the SEO, search engine optimization, that helps a browser, that helps Google and all these browsers connect with your business. And the company, when I say to the business owner, look, how come it's not being found? Oh, well, the company said, I didn't ask for that. That I needed to ask for the website, but I also needed to ask for SEO. And I said, well, okay. One thing about Web3 Digital is we make sure that, one, when we build a website, we give you a foundation that can actually be found. Okay, so it's asking the right questions, knowing why you want a website. If you're going to have a website just for the sake of having a website, don't have a website. Okay, and when it comes to AI, people have said to me, look, do you feel threatened by AI? I said, please remember that AI is a tool. It's a fantastic tool, but use it as a tool. I've seen people copy and paste directly out of AI and put it on their website and find out why it's actually gone down as opposed to up. Okay, so, and also people are now getting concerned in terms of, is this email from someone or is it from AI? Now more people are saying to me, I'd like to catch up for a coffee as opposed to an online meeting.
Yeah, I guess AI, it can be a time saver, but not necessarily a business builder. When you started 7 years ago and fast forward to now, has your business strategy changed at all? Has you as an entrepreneur changed at all? Was there an element of imposter syndrome when you first went out on your own?
It's changed 3 times. We've still always been a digital marketing agency, but people's habits change and what they need change. And basically, the algorithms and Google and Facebook and the control they have, they force you to change. And at the end of the day, again, going back to what you said previously, yes, there are a lot of tools that can help you. do the things that we do for a lot less and save a lot of time. But I suppose the advantage that I've seen is that it's never set and forget, and it will never be set and forget. Okay, so I've seen that you've always got to be thinking, you've always got to be, again, going back to that, think about the actual buyer's process, because that may change, and you've also got to be aware of that.
What's the telltale signs that something's changed their algorithm? Did Google change their algorithm? Facebook change their algorithm? Meta in general? And how are you aware that that's happening? And then what can you do on the fly to change that?
It's usually a case of where someone's website was on the page 1 and all of a sudden it's on page 3. And I think the annoying part is that, these companies that have control of that aren't necessarily telling you what to do to fix it. They'll take your site down, or they'll take your Facebook profile down, and no one's there to talk to say, well, okay, it's down because you made these mistakes. Okay, so what we've got to do is we've got to keep monitoring. We've got to keep watching and saying, well, okay, why is all of a sudden one of our sites that we've built for you that was always on the first page disappeared, and then make the changes that need to be applied.
Yeah. Maybe not from a company standpoint, but maybe from a personal standpoint, have you had any big failures along your journey of running a business yourself?
Yes.
Be as transparent or as you'd like, but I'm sure there's plenty of challenges and hurdles along the way, and people would love to hear that.
I think it's a case of realizing that you can't help everyone. And to begin with, we wanted to be the affordable digital marketing agency, but affordability, to one, doesn't give us money to actually grow the business. I found that, yes, wanting to help people was one thing, and over-delivering, but then there's no real value to the customer because they didn't realize the difference between what we were offering and what another business, you'd find that they'd go away and spend 3 times the amount of money with another business to get less than what we were offering. So, I think you've got to realize that at the end of the day, if you want to help more people, you've got to charge for your services, okay? And you've got to take into consideration the other people around you. But yeah, that was the mistake. That's why I had to change the business, because we were doing a lot of giving, and sometimes you've got to take as well.
Yeah. Has that shaped and molded over the years what success looks like to you from a business owner as well?
Yeah, it's made a difference in terms of just surviving to actually growing. And that's the big lesson. And also realizing that saying you can't help everybody, there are times where you meet a potential customer and something inside says it's not a good fit. I think you've got to actually listen to that and realize that the times where you had that feeling and still move forward, and then it was, just a clash. Again, you just can't help everyone. But so, those were the lessons, and being able to say no and realizing that, this person may be the difference in paying your mortgage this month, but you should still learn when to say no.
2 questions left, Jules. First one, if someone listening right now has a kernel of an idea and want to build something from scratch business-wise, what advice would you have for them? Get a good network and talk to people outside of the family, okay? Because family and friends love to be supportive, and a lot of times there'll be a lot of yeses, but it's people that don't know you that will, you've got a better chance of getting honest feedback because they're your potential customers. So, having an idea is good, and acting upon it as well is good, but, get some help from people that have, other entrepreneurs
and people around you that have worked within the same arena as your idea, and that should help.
And final one, if you hypothetically had to go back to ground zero, everything was wiped, if Google had a meltdown and everything disappeared and you had to start building from scratch again, would you do anything different?
Yes. Yes. I think the main thing is do for yourself what you intend to do for others. Because I spent a lot of time helping others increase their ranking and being found online, and didn't put time into getting our business found online.
Sure. Take care of yourself. It's like when the plane goes down, you take care of yourself before taking care of everyone else around you. Jules, fantastic. Thank you so much for joining us today on the Built From Scratch podcast. Inspiring to hear your story, and definitely some kernels of wisdom across the online sphere and developing websites. And from a strategic sales point of view is really interesting. So congratulations on what you've built, and excited, I'm sure you are, for whatever's to come next as well.
Thank you. Yeah, watch this space.
Webspree.com.au if you want to check them out on Facebook and Instagram as well. Webspree Digital. Thanks for joining us for another episode of the Built From Scratch podcast.